Springtime is an absolutely pivotal time of year for some of our most loved garden birds. It's mid-May at the moment, which is slap bang in the middle of the breeding season, which for a bird watcher like me is great because that means I stand a chance of seeing some really cool bird behaviour. But seeing is one thing, understanding is another. And so I've got to be honest, the scientist in me is kind of taking over. And that's why I'm here at the University of Oxford's Wytham Woods. Also known as a laboratory with leaves, this is potentially the most intensely studied piece of deciduous woodland in the world. And the animal hero which is responsible for most of the amazing research that goes on here is Paris major, otherwise known as the great tit. The great tit is a useful bird to study because it's very partial to nesting in man-made nest boxes such as these, which are dotted all over the woodland here. However, here at Benice's Explanations, we can do one better than that. This is my back garden, and in that nest box up there is something very, very special indeed. There's a great tit sitting on 6 eggs, and I know that because there's a camera in that nest box, which is feeding back to my television. So herein lies my first question. Why lay 6 eggs? Now let's get one thing straight first of all. Not all great tits lay 6 eggs. Of course they don't. In fact, some nests have been recorded with 18 eggs in them. Okay, fair enough, but how many eggs is best? This is a question a man who once roamed this very woodland decided to investigate. His name was David Lack, and he was aware that the more eggs a lady great tit laid, the less she will be able to invest on each baby. And after some complicated calculations, he worked out that the optimal or Lack clutch size for a great tit pair was around 8 eggs. Well, that's fair enough, Dave mate, but is that actually what we see in nature?
I think not.
More often than not, the average number of eggs laid is less than the number that David Lack predicted. So clearly, something ain't right here. Clearly, there's something that David Lack was lacking. Oh, do you see what I did there?
A lack of jokes, you mean?
Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, clearly there was something which our David hadn't incorporated into his calculations. And that was future reproductive success. You see, animals haven't evolved to maximise their success in one breeding season. They've evolved to maximise their success across all the breeding seasons in their lifetime. So the idea is that if you invest too much in one year, then you may be less successful in subsequent years, and that's why the average number of eggs laid is less than the number that David Lack's models predicted. So why then do some great tits still lay ridiculous numbers of eggs? Well, you see, nature's more complicated than that. There are loads of factors which shape an animal's life history. For example, if food is particularly abundant, then it may pay a great tit pair to lay slightly more eggs than average. Equally, a large clutch earlier in the season may stand a better chance of surviving than the clutch laid later in the season, because clutches laid earlier will have more time to stock up before the tough winter comes. And believe it or not, that is exactly what we see. Great tits do tend to lay larger clutches earlier on in the year. So if we think about my great tits, 6 eggs sounds like a pretty reasonable number. If all goes to plan, these parents could rear all 6 of these chicks to a successful fledging. However, nature is pretty damn brutal, so it's definitely not going to be easy, but all will be revealed over the next few weeks. laugh about that joke I made again. Go on.
Oh, are we filming
Yeah.
now? Oh, right. No, you've taken me by surprise now.
Come on.
A lack of jokes? No, I don't like that. No, you've,
Anyway, don't worry, that wasn't that important.